Shalom, we're going to resume our learning in Meshivat Nafesh, the restoration of the soul, January 23rd, 22nd, 27th Tevet, more importantly, heading into Rosh Chodesh Shvat, Baruch Hashem. Arena Mikasher Tzmi V'Atzmeinu B'Limud Tarzu, L'Kol HaTzadikim HaMitim Shevareinu, L'Kol HaTzadikim HaMitim Shochei Aval, Kedoshim Asher B'Atzema, Prat Rebbe Kadosh Tzadik Yesod Rab Nachal Novei Makor Chochma Rebbe Nachman B'Fegi Nachman Yuman Zchusam Yigenu Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael Amen. And the exclusive of this learning, please Hashem, may it be where you should send healing to Rav Nosson. You remember Rav Nosson Rayman's famous name? Nosson Yaakov ben Yinda Fredel. Umeal Chaim David ben Chanagoda, Umeal Avraham ben Sina, Umeal Moshe Meir ben Kela, Umeal Adin Steinsaltz. I keep forgetting to check his name again. Israel Tzvi ben Esther. That's your son-in-law, right? Everybody should have first Slave Shleima, Mamish, the Karov, and all the Yeshuas that everybody needs. Send tremendous Yeshuas into the world of Hashem. Tov, Meshivat Nafesh. We are in chapter Perik. Is it Vav or Fei? I mean, Vav is Zion. I think it's Vav. Yes, Vav. Perik Vav, chapter 6. All right. And it says like this. כל אדם שבעולם, אפילו מישהו במדרגה תחתונה מאוד, ואפילו אם בתוך הארץ ממש, every person in the world, even if he's in the very, very low level of coarseness and spiritual development, and even he's like to the point where he's so coarse and so physical and Hellenistic that he's completely immersed in the physical world. No matter what level a person is, every single person, when a person wants to come into enter into service of Hashem, it certainly is the case that he needs to go forth and raise up from level to level, to ascend from level to level. כפי בחינתו, אז המסגברים עליו מחדש הקליפות שהם הטבוס והדמיונס והמחשבוס והבלבולים והמניעוס משפטים כנגדו בכל פעם מאוד. ואין המניחים עשו לכנוס לשערי קדושה. A person has to know that every single time that we go from level to level, every single time we make a spiritual ascent, that you have to go, that each time you're going to have to go through another wave of attacks, that the sitra achra, the klipot, the husks, the forces that are opposing forces, the forces of darkness, the forces of the other side, and they're going to, every time we go up a level, they're going to renew their attacks in a more profound way each time. And what are those klipos? How do those manifest? It's the taivos. It's the physical urges. It's the dimyonos. It's the imaginations and the imaginings. Dimyonot from the word domeh. Domeh is like to be similar to, and the dimyonot, the imagination. But it seems to me domeh. It's like it seems to me that this is providing me with what I want. It's an imagination. It's like, it seems to me that this is what I'm getting. Is an imagination. It seems to me if I have a lot of money, then I'll feel good. That's the dimyon. It's part of, it goes with the tavot. It goes with the urges. V'machshavos, and all sorts of extraneous thoughts that that come into a person, bilbulim and confusions and manios and obstacles that, for instance, a person all of a sudden finds himself that his wife suddenly needs him for things that she never needed him for. That all of a sudden he's in a great wave of learning, and he's getting out every single day, and he's learning, and he's got depth, and he's got heart in his learning and his praying, and all of a sudden his wife suddenly needs other things, and maybe she even starts to be not nice for, and he has no way to understand this. Rebbe Nachman talks about this. These are the types of things where the Sitra Achra will attack through close family, when a person is really trying to come to service of Hashem in the truth of the heart from that place, like Rebbe Nachman is talking about. These are the things that will happen, and these come out against the person each and every time, and they're opposing him, and they're trying to stop him from entering the gates of kedusha. And in this, a lot of pious, holy, kosher people make a big mistake. הקודם לא היו אלו התאוות והבלבולים מסגברים עליו כל כך. והיו נחים כצעס על כן שהוא סובר שנפל חס ושלום. What happens is he sees, so you're getting to a certain level of conquering, you don't look at women so much, whatever it is that you've been working on, you get to a certain level, you're succeeding. You've been praying about it, please Hashem, make it so that I don't get distracted by beautiful women anymore, for instance. And you've been praying, and then you got to a place where, hey, I'm doing it. Thank you, Hashem. You answered my prayers. I noticed that I'm able to keep myself from looking. And then all of a sudden, one day, what happened? All of a sudden, the woman, wow, look at that one. Wow, look at that one. He can't keep his eyes off of her, off of the women. So what happens? So a lot of really holy kosher people make a mistake. They think they fell. They think they fell from their level because just beforehand they weren't. These taivas, these urges and these confusions were not bothering him, and he was in a good comfort zone. Therefore, when he starts to have these renewals of attacks, he feels like he fell. God forbid. It's not, and the truth is that it's not a fall at all. It's an amazing thing. Such an amazing teaching, this. The truth is it's not a fall at all. This is only because that a person needs to go up to raise up and ascend from level to level, according to his own. Each person is on his own, according to the nature of who he is and what his neshama is. And so therefore, when a person is going to the next level, the new level, so there's a renewal of all these attacks, of all these confusions and obstacles that renew their attacks on him, and with a great ferocity, with all the urges and all the confusions and crookednesses of the heart. He finds himself like having judgments on people all of a sudden that he didn't have, whatever it might be, things that are more coarse, things that are less godly, things that are less refined in awareness of Hashem. And you need each and every time to encourage, to strengthen yourself and encourage yourself, a lot. To make sure that if when these things happen, when these attacks from the other side, whether it be things that don't open when you suddenly all of a sudden the juice doesn't open the proper way, all of a sudden something, this never happens. All of a sudden the juice doesn't open. I'm trying to sit and learn Torah, and I just thought I was going to have a drink, and all of a sudden I get distracted because the juice thing. That's exactly what we're talking about. Exactly, these are the types of things. But I mean, obviously this is a tiny little example, but it's when he says we need to strengthen ourselves and encourage ourselves, we have to look at these patterns and you're in the middle of learning Torah, and something comes up that's like a distraction, an unusual distraction, notice it, because it means that you're doing well. It means that you're doing well. That's what he said. That's the type of encouragement. If you've been going up and you've been doing well, and then suddenly you're not doing well, it's counterintuitive, but it's the emes. He's saying you need to remind yourself that this is a signpost that you're doing well. The fact that you had this renewal of attack all of a sudden, that you find yourself wanting to go in ways that you weren't going before for a long time. You conquered these urges, whatever it might be, and you've been holding your spiritual level, and then suddenly all these types of things try to get in the way, whether it's your thoughts or your feelings, etc. And therefore we have to notice these patterns, because we're not used to this. Coming from the West, growing up in the West, even he says there's even the people that didn't grow up in the West, these Hasidim Kasherim, holy Jews that misunderstand the nature of these attacks. And they get depressed because they feel like I'm never making progress. But really they're making progress each and every time. Until and so the person that doesn't fall from his das, what does that mean? He remembers it's Hashem, and he remembers that the main thing is to pray, and he remembers that the main thing is to acknowledge and tell Hashem what's happening, to tell over his life. Hashem, wow, for a long time you answered my prayers, that I was not looking at women, I was not overeating, I was not seeking out approval, whatever it was that the change happens, right? Long time, Hashem, and all of a sudden now, I'm so worried about whether they're going to give me the seat at the head of the table. And Hashem, my goodness, wow, that's an amazing thing that I'm suddenly feeling this strong, and I'm so ashamed, but you know what? I'm so glad at the same time, because I recognize this means that now I'm going up, and that I'm going up, and I'm able to serve you on a higher level. And please, Hashem, I'm begging you, let me be able to serve you on this higher level. Let me come through this and push through and gain, and let go of my need for kavod, let go of my need for whatever the urges are. Right. So each time, that's how we don't lose our das. We might see falling down spiritually is Rebbe Nachman says, is only when you forget that it's Hashem. That's the only time we, God forbid, that we've really fallen. Is if we stop calling out to Hashem, and if we stop praying, and if we stop believing and understanding that Hashem is doing everything only for the good. If that's a fall. That's called falling from your das. But as far as being religious, how much you're keeping things, how much you're learning, whatever it is, those types of things that I know, don't about you, but I know when I started becoming observant, these were unspoken but certainly present communications, like that if you're not being religious enough, then you've fallen off. If you can't be learning the way you were, or if you're going after women or whatever it is, that you're bad and you're not doing well. Excuse me. And this is I think this is a very strong an influence that came a lot from Christianity, because that's a Christian attitude. But we have to understand these patterns, and we have to observe them and notice them and celebrate them, and not be attached to the mania, not be attached to, oh man, I didn't want to get distracted from that learning. I wanted to be able to pour my drink quietly and not have any distractions, and suddenly I can't even get the top off. You need to notice that, oh, okay. Tov, that's chapter 6. Any questions, comments? Chaim David, anything?
Yes.
Thought so. You look like you wanted to say something. What?
You hear me?
I do. Don't.
Comment is
That's the in the Ashmata, right? That's what I was referring to before when I talked about like the wife coming up against you. Exactly.
Right.
Okay, shkoyach. Is that's what you want to say? Just to remind us of the Hashmata there. Echad Avram. So if you haven't seen this Torah, Echad Avraham and Lik Timoran, you see it between the end of the first part and the beginning of Tinyana, and it's called Hashmata because it was taken out and then it was kind of censored out or hidden because of because it's such a sharp thing to say about how one should serve Hashem. And so if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's worth it. Echad Haya Abraham. Abraham was one. Tov, chapter 7, Perek Zayin. The Ha'etzel is there. So now what did we just say that we got to a new level, and you're going through all sorts of bilbulim, confusions and attacks from the taivas, from the physical urges, and all sorts of craziness. And it says the Eitzah, and the advice for this is to get to really the most effective way to get through this. Obviously, it means besides, in addition to praying, because praying is always the advice. The Eitzah is yiten tzedakah la'aniyim hagunim. The way to bring about a strengthening of your ability to come and to hold your level of the service, and to not be subjected to or influenced by these confusions, is to give tzedakah, give charity to appropriate poor people. And how that's a whole discussion about how do you find la'aniyim hagunim. I mean, you got to be careful. We're not allowed to give tzedakah, and it's not healthy to give tzedakah to people who are fake, who are like just out there because they don't want to work, and so they're going to just sit there and collect money, but they don't really need to. They could easily get a job. They could easily they don't do anything. They get a job, or they could be learning Torah, but they're completely not doing anything. These people that just go out there and they're just sitting around. They don't have any. All they're doing is wanting money. They don't really need it, and these are the people that we have to be careful for. How do you find out? You beg Hashem for clarity. You call out and cry out and ask Hashem to bring you to only true poor people. And in our time, like who are we? So it's maybe to give. Some people say it's okay to go ahead and give a little coin to each person just to. Because you don't know, and you also want, when you're giving tzedakah, you want to give tzedakah, but I think for the most part, I think our hearts can tell us who to give tzedakah to and who's appropriate, and especially if we pray for it. Haim David, you ever heard any Indian about how to assess aniyim hagunim, appropriate people to give tzedakah?
My what I learned from my is, give a little bit for everybody.
That's okay. Yeah, I thought that's what I heard too. Good, give a little to everybody.
And unless you really, really know that the guy's, he's in dire straits, he's kind of whatever.
Right. Well, that's also I know for me. I mean, when I whatever from my parnasa from my practice, for instance, comes in, and I take the percentage, whatever it is, the 10%, and keep that, and then I'm taking the coins when I'm giving out, and I'm giving the coins. So that's a little bit, but then the larger, I keep for people who I know for a fact these are people who are sitting and learning, and they're mistapek meuat. They suffice with very little. They have just the bare necessities. Just they try to get enough money for Shabbos, that type of thing. Those are the people that you want to give to, and plus besides the mitzvah tzedakah. Or an institution, right? Nachon, that trustworthy institution that is using the money well, putting it into the proper places. So those are but anyway. So regardless, whatever the ani hagun, whatever the appropriate poor person that's fitting for receiving tzedakah, this is the advice of how to get through that obstacle of when you're going to the new level and being attacked. Because the main elevation or expansion, with the main greatness, I should say, of the main manifestation of the greatness of Hashem, is revealed through charity given to appropriate people. Said that through this giving of the charity, it causes a glorification and a magnification of Hashem's holy name. And through giving this tzedakah, you'll merit to push down and to subjugate these evil husks, these evil powers that attack, Shehema Menios Bilbulim, which are manifested as the obstacles and the confusions, etc. Shemisgabri Bechol Darga V'Dagra, that they strengthen with their ferocity in each and every level. Tov, Perek Zayin. So we see these are like all these are the very Meshivat Nafesh is a lot of quick hitters, because that's what when a person is going through a difficult time, they need quick pieces of advice, pieces of encouragement. And that's what when a person is really having troubles, what do you need? You're doing okay. Don't just know that here's a little quick piece of advice. Give tzedakah. Know that you're going through these things because you're improving. All these are quick pieces, quick hits of encouragement. Okay, another one. Shall we go on? Good. All right. This is a very short one. Also, chapter 8, Perek Chet. Another piece of advice. Shisamach es atzmo. That you should make yourself be very happy. V'yagil v'yasis b'nekuda soitova b'mashi yisrach aliyos mizera Yisrael u'lizkarev la'anshe emes. And that the person, you have to remind yourself, and that in the good point. What's the least minimum? A Jew has always this very, very good point, that the fact that he's a Jew. Now, for the non-Jews who might be seeing this, you have to understand that Hashem chose this, and you have the right. You can choose it too, but you shouldn't be offended, because Hashem has to hold. There had to be a nation of kedusha, and there had to be. So, in order for there to be free choice, there has to be an embodiment of opposites, whether it's in a person, whether it's in nations, whether it's so. There's, for instance, there has to be a holy day that's Shabbat, and the rest of the days are the not holy days. There has to be a holy place, which is Eretz Yisrael and the Beit HaMikdash, and then in contradistinction to that, all the rest of the places that are not holy. There has to be a nation that's chosen, and so that's what Am Yisrael is. So people who want to be offended, well, why is we're better than others? Because Hashem wanted it. Okay, but so the fact that a Jew is a Jew there's a very great cause for celebration in that, because it's a very special and wonderful thing to be Zera Yisrael, to be from the nation of Israel. And so therefore, a person and we can understand that if you're not Jewish, understand that this good point can be found in the fact that you want Hashem. The fact that you want God, the fact that you have a desire in your heart, it's not because of you. You didn't put that desire in your heart. The Creator put that desire in your heart because that was what He wanted, right? So therefore, even that. So you want to say. So let's say a Jew can always say, "I have this great, wonderful gratitude to be happy with that Hashem made me a Jew." But you can also say, "I have a great gratitude of happiness that Hashem gave me, that God gave me in my heart a desire for His truth." Right? And that's the type of thing that you can always come back to that. So he says that is another way, another great piece of advice of how to push through these confusions and these obstacles, is by being joyful and reminding yourself that, wow, I'm a Jew, no matter what, even if I'm on the lowest level. But the fact that Hashem gave me a neshama is so amazing and beautiful that I can be happy. And again, the same. What if you don't feel that? What if it's hard to find that? What's the answer? As always, prayer. You pray it. You say, Hashem, I learned that for me to go up to be able to go through these attacks, that Rebbe Nachman says the advice is I should be very happy, but I'm having trouble finding the feeling of happiness about that right now. So please, illuminate for me in my heart the experience of happiness about this, that I should feel how wonderful and special it is that you made me a Jew. But in the meantime, you have to find every little bit that you can do to make yourself happy, in whatever way you can, that you have this point of goodness in you, and that for ulis karev la'anshe emes, that you draw yourself close to people of truth, hamolichin and madrichin oso b'derech ha'emes. Like that Rebbe Nachman, for instance, is specifically, and the Rebbe Nachman students, that are Anshe Emes, people of truth, that want to guide us and help us go in the way of truth. Asher al yedei zeh ech sheyeh yesh lo tikva tova lanetzach. Because of this, no matter what, no matter how strong you, whether you can stay with learning and davening and conquering your urges or not. But no matter what, You have tremendous hope because what? Because you're connected to you're connected to your desire for Hashem, and the tzaddikim that Hashem gave us into the world as a gift to, and Rebbe Nachman and all the students and all the true tzaddikim that help us go in this way, and that therefore we always have great hope, forever. And so if there's great hope, that's joy. If you got hope, aren't you happy? If you realize that there's a lot of hope, so, I'm really hopeful. Say that out loud and see. You'll feel it. It feels happy. Hey, you know what? I got a lot of hope. There's a happiness in that, right? So there's a great hope forever, and this hope and this joy. This joy breaks all the evil husks, all the forces of evil that manifest as obstacles at each and every level we go through. Tov. Very, very nice. Thank you very much for learning together. And may we be zocheh to apply these ideas in our lives and to remind ourselves and remind each other of these truths so that we can come from level to level and drawing closer and closer to Hashem, to His truth, to His true tzaddikim, to refinement of our character and refinement to be able to do tshuva shlema and to shine light and goodness for the whole world, and finally Hashem will certainly will send and reveal Mashiach Tzidkenu, the righteous Redeemer, Bekarov Mamash.
Amen.
Tov, Chodesh Tov. We'll see you next week.
So yeah,